Showtime!
Ladies and gentlemen, please make your way to your seats.
Showtime!
Please make your way to your seats. The show is about to begin.
Showtime!
Let the magic begin.
I don't know why I love cellular technology so much. It just baffles me. It's phenomenal. And this is even crazier. Go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, breakthrough technology amplifies terahertz waves for 6G communication. What's this all about? And then I'm going to talk about whether it's frying my brain or not.
So actually, it shouldn't be called 6G, even though because I think I'm pretty sure the other up 5G and below are based on gigahertz at least, but I could be wrong. But this is cool. So 6G technology using terahertz waves. So researchers led by Professor Park have developed a technology to greatly amplify terahertz electromagnetic waves, which are being considered for 6G communication networks. Up until now, we've only used gigahertz technology. So this is going to be interesting. The biggest thing is terahertz wave. They occupy the frequency between microwaves and infrared light. So using nanoscale resonators combined with an inverse design method incorporating AI, they were able to amplify the terahertz waves by over 30,000 times, which is a significant improvement over previous terahertz resonators and moves the terahertz tech closer to commercialization for applications such as 6G networks. So what they did was they employed advanced AI optimization techniques based on physical models to efficiently design the resonators, taking only 40 hours compared to previous methods, which is really cool. So this could enable uses like highly sensitive molecular detection, next-gen sensors, different things like that. But the problem is, so we already, with the 5G technology, we've already had a crap load of problems with 5G because of the short wavelength. And just a quick educational session. The shorter the wavelength, the harder it is to propagate through surfaces and bounce off surfaces and penetrate buildings and things like that. So terahertz is even more difficult. It's even shorter of a wavelength. So we're going to have a lot of problems with it. So terahertz, the good thing is it can carry a crap load of data, but the downside is that it's going to be very, very difficult to create and design networks for cellular communication.
Yeah, this is very interesting. And you talked about it. A lot of problem with 5G is that it can't penetrate the house. They have to have it close. They have to crank up the wattage, I guess, the amplification so with terahertz waves, that's going to be more of a problem? Have they talked about getting around that? Are they talking about maybe putting its smaller broadcasts inside and outside?
Yeah, I have no clue. So they're going to have to integrate active tunability. They're going to have to optimize the geometry of the nanostructure for resonances that can be tuned to specific terahertz frequencies. The other problem is traditional metal and semiconductor structures are too large to efficiently guide or enhance the terahertz waves at the sub-wavelength scale required. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I'm guessing we're 10, 15 years away from 6G being mainstream. But just to reiterate, like the short wavelengths allow high data transmission rates, but the signals are weak and attenuation is high over distance. So we're going to have not only a penetration problem, but a distance problem as well, a broadcasting problem.
Yeah, I look at this and I wonder, we'll solve some of those issues, whether it's exactly doing this or something else. Is this going to facilitate us being, what I would call online all the time, where right now I'm always have my headphones in. I'm one of those people, 20 hours, 24 hours a day. I get upset when my headphones, I have to recharge them and plug them in for a few minutes because I got stuff going on.
Yeah.
But I'm not glued to my phone looking at it all the time, as a lot of people are. But I find now that I got my iPad up, it's got a video going while I'm working and I'm listening. Like, is this now going to make that happen all the time? Because we can be on the phone with somebody. We could be video streaming to work with whatever's going on. I could be having other things going on over here. And is that what terahertz waves are going to allow us to do, is pretty much anything from anywhere?
Yeah. I'm guessing we could probably stream virtual reality using this technology. Like, we're talking, just to put it into perspective, we're talking 8K or 16K video distribution. That's what it could be able to handle for sure. But yeah, we're talking like we are kind of always connected now, but this is a whole new ball game. Like, we're talking real-time HD video streaming from vehicles, like as far as collision avoidance, all that sort of stuff. We're talking no more need for fiber. Yeah, we're talking like this is a true wireless. This is a true wireless future. Ultra high resolution medical imaging, DNA sequencing, glucose level monitoring. Like the possibilities are endless.
Now, this technology isn't really fully vetted and tested and stuff, but one of the things around 5G was response time. Like, the response times were so fast in 5G that you could do so many different things. Like, they're hoping to put it in cars and, light systems, and you can detect what's moving and what's not around you. Does this make that even faster?
Yeah. So just to put it into perspective, 6G is expected to be about 100 times faster than 5G. And the speeds are expected to exceed 100 gigabits per second. So I guess even at that, you could have true hologram communication at that point. So we're getting into the Star Trek era. Yeah, it'll have much lower latency, less than 1 millisecond in real-time control applications, whereas 5G is around 1 millisecond. Sensors, yeah, there's the network architecture will have to be more decentralized and more cloud-based for scalability and reduced latency, but there's a huge difference there. But again, we're just new into 5G, right? And it's just getting adopted. And although 5G, I think, is getting adopted a lot quicker than 4G, but yeah, we're still a ways away. But there's a lot of great benefits to 6G, exponential benefits compared to 5G.
You say things like not needing fiber, but by the time this comes out, we'll be able to, do terabytes down a fiber or petabytes or whatever. So we have to keep in mind that usually physically connected scales just as fast as the wireless from a bandwidth point of view.
We'll need fiber for the backbone for sure.
And there's always a rule, like, no matter how much bandwidth, you'll fill it up somehow, right?
Yeah.
There was that screensaver back, I can't remember, was it in the 90s, that get stock quotes and stuff that was killing all the corporate networks because people were loading up this screensaver and it was pulling all this news and stuff data, and it was clunking down all the internet. Yeah, so we find a way to fill it up.
Well, now people will probably just install these holographic communication devices into their homes, and that'll eat up all the bandwidth.
So I go to, is there going to be, you can't answer this question, so it's unfair for me to say this, but there was a lot of stuff around millimeter waves affecting humans and DNA and brain matter. How much of that is true? How much of that is not true? I think we have too much electromagnetic waves screwing around us in our house all the time that we are affected in some way, shape, or form. Is it like as cancer causing or stuff that some of the naysayers do it, or positive, or what? I don't really know, but I got to think that it can't, the ever increasing amount of waves that are going through our body can't be good for us.
No, it definitely can't. And there actually are some studies that have done, and there's this device that you can get that helps to reduce the amount of waves that are getting into your body. It's a little sticker you put on the back of your phone. I don't know if it's snake oil. I haven't looked into it. I just actually saw it a couple of days ago. But the thing with millimeter waves, though, are they're a type of non-ionizing radiation on the electromagnetic spectrum. So they don't directly damage DNA like what ionizing radiation would do. There were, I think, and this is just me just trying to think about back on my research, but there were some animal studies that did find biological effects at very high exposure levels. However, the exposure levels were many times higher than what humans would experience from 5G or Wi-Fi use. So again, it's a lot of propaganda, I think, but who knows? It's a newer technology, although millimeter wave technology and gigahertz technology and terahertz have been known for many, many years. I don't think there's research, but there are some studies that people have reported non-specific health complaints like headaches or sleep issues due to millimeter wave exposure, but it's hard to say whether or not that was to millimeter wave exposure or to other things. So, but there's been, based on the actual research, if we go to the research that's been done, there's been no consistent research that shows that there are detrimental effects to millimeter waves or any kind of non-ionizing radiation.
Fair enough. But they say that Havana syndrome was caused by crickets. So, go look that up. Anybody who hasn't followed that fiasco. You know what? You remember that?
Right. Yeah.
Where people in the U.S. embassies were fallen ill from some sort of sonic attack. Yeah.
I still believe that there was some sort of. They do have devices like that microwave. Those are microwaves that are devices, but they actually have those for anti-riot protests and things like that. They have mounted on trucks and things like that. But really interesting.
Of course, it was something like that, but they had them at a bunch of U.S. embassies. It was happening all over the world at one point, and then it came out. They said, "Oh, it's crickets. Crickets caused this." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So you found out somebody was doing something to you, but you can't tell the world about this technology yet.
Exactly. Yeah. The one thing, just to talk about waves or radio frequencies, the one thing I'm worried about is this wireless power, which we don't have to get into today, but yeah, wireless power, because there is technology nowadays, for those of you that don't know, that you can have a device just sitting in a room and be charging wirelessly just from power being broadcast within that room. So that's the one thing I'm worried about.
Yeah, you're not talking about the Q pads or whatever where you stick it on the magnetically connect. You're talking about there's actual power being broadcast through the air like Wi-Fi, and your devices are getting charged, which is one of the next generations of things. And we talked about beaming power from space at one point.
Yeah.
And so these things are slowly becoming a reality. And yeah, we have to understand how it affects our electrical system, our magnetic system, the waves that go on in our body. But the benefits we're going to see are going to be interesting. And I got to wonder, there's a lot of benefits, but are the benefits going to outweigh the consequences? We talk about the social impact of, social media and screen time and being hyper connected globally and being hyper disconnected locally. And now we're going to add 6G on in like 5 to 10 years. We'll talk about that in a minute. And allow all this more hyper connected. Like, is this the end of local relationships?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially if we're getting into holographic kind of the communication, for sure. Who knows? We've already gotten past the local connections, and with all these dating apps and things like that, you can meet anyone from anywhere in the world. Even back in the day, MSN Messenger, you could talk to anyone anywhere in the world. And Skype back in the day, you can video chat with anyone. So this is just going to get that much more realistic, I think, once we get to 6G, for sure.
So the rollout of 4G was faster and the 5G is faster than 4G. Is 6G going to come faster, or is it going to take a while? Like, they're still finishing rolling out the 5G. This technology is fairly new. How far are we away from it, and what are the challenges with rolling it out?
Yeah, I think we're 5 to 10 years off commercialization of 6G, and there's so many challenges that are faced. So again, we talked about shorter wavelengths, so they're 100 times smaller and pose unique challenges for generation, propagation, and detection. We've got the higher frequencies, so scaling devices and techniques to frequencies over 100 times higher than 4 and 5G. That introduces obstacles like we talked about: increased attenuation, need for sophisticated nano fabrication. So we're talking like nanoscale fabrication now, manufacturing. Again, it's an immature technology, so terahertz science is still relatively new. And it requires extensive research to discover enabling materials, devices. Again, we've got the sensor detection limitations. So developing compact, efficient, tunable terahertz sources and hypersensitive detectors, propagation constraints, terahertz wavelengths, they kind of interact strongly with matter. So they require pretty much line of sight, and they're unable to penetrate structures like the lower bands, which diffract around obstacles. So, there's a lot of challenges, but there were challenges when we got to the gigahertz as well. But I think terahertz is even more challenging because it's a lesser known technology, a lesser research technology at this point than gigahertz was.
So there was a whole real estate, surge when we wanted to put up towers everywhere. You'd pay to put up your 3G tower on a apartment building so you get the best signal. And are we going to see something like that for this kind of technology? Because it can't penetrate buildings. So we're going to see like one provider only service in a mall or buildings or apartments?
I don't think so. I think because of the demand and the need for it, I think there's going to be either someone that just builds the infrastructure, and it's going to be, I think what's going to happen is it's going to just be built into the buildings when they get built nowadays. And so I don't know if there's going to be one person that owns the infrastructure or if it's just going to be leased out. I don't. It's going to be interesting because there's going to be a lot more need for a lot more antennas and distributors than with 5G or even with 4G. Yeah, with 4G and 3G, you could just put up a tower and it would propagate miles. With 5G, you needed a lot more closer antennas and technology and things to get the proper coverage you needed.
Yeah, and having this stuff built into buildings is interesting. But with the technology rapidly changing, it's going to have to be modular. There's some stuff that's going to have to be done. I'm just curious if we're going to start seeing stuff like these chips put into other things like your home cable box modem or other things you'll buy so you'll have the availability of this technology in your home without having to worry about penetrating.
That's what they're going to have to do probably. Yeah. And yeah, there's a lot more challenges. So, and talking about the challenges, I just did a quick researching. So 4G took around 5 to 7 years from start to significant availability. 5G actually took 7 to 10. It's still being deployed. So they're anticipating 7 to 10. So with the 5 to 10 year frame, I actually think that might be off based on the terahertz technology. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, people probably don't know this, but I was working at Bell Mobility when we were rolling out, going from 3G to 4G, the LTE network across Canada. They were on quite the deadline, and our team deployed the HSPA network. I think that's what it's called. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
But we had to get it done before the Olympics in Vancouver because there's so much money involved in roaming. You have no idea when something like the Olympics happen and thousands of people from out of country come. It's so much money for the telecom companies.
Yeah. The roaming fees, and now there's less and less because you've got the roam like home, you've got all these different things, but who knows? But the biggest thing I think when we're talking about cellular is we need more competition here in Canada. We can get controversial here, but Rogers promised that they wouldn't raise rates, and now they are. And so, what's Bell going to do? What's Telus going to do? Like, there's just
Yeah, and I had several conversations with Bryce Seschuk, who was a CFO of Win Mobile way back in the day, and you see Anthony Lecavier, he's constant. He wants to buy it back, Freedom Mobile, and take it private again, and he's on a campaign to do that. There was a lot of trickery going on. Like, I was working with Bell Mobility when a lot of stuff was happening. They had the strike, or the people who climb the poles. My brain is not working this morning. I need another cup of coffee before we started. They all were on strike, and there was a bunch of stuff going on, and there was underhanded on both sides, and it's interesting. I'm not going to, if you want to know some inside junk about these companies, come talk to me and buy me a beer sometime, and we'll chat. But the mindset of the companies is really don't kill the cash cow, right? So as mobile starts to become the cash cow away from landlines, and you say starts to, but they were charging $100 a landline, and it was all profit. It's just crazy, which is one of the reasons they refused. We at one point had a solution when Rogers was eating their lunch on the $20 a month phone at home plan, and we had I was working with CGI and working inside Bell Mobility, and we had a plan with Bell. We had a meeting with them to propose this new standard that will allow them to do VoIP at home and all that kind of stuff. And we had the stuff ready. And at the end of the meeting, I said, that's all great, but we're not going to do it because we literally make too much money off the landline. We're not going to offer another solution.
Yeah.
We don't care if our business is being eaten.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. It's crazy to think. Yeah. And it's nuts. We've got some of the highest rates for internet and mobility in Canada, in the world. And that's due to, I think, lack of competition. So we'll have to see what happens.
Competition, lack of infrastructure. In a socialist country like we are, you would think that there'd be a little bit more of a infrastructure for these things, but guess not. All right, what do you got to promote, John?
Oh, nothing. Just if you want some funds, zero interest loan to change your digital footprint online, software, hardware, reach out. See that. More than happy to help.
Yeah, I've been thinking about what I want to do, a series of videos with you on government funding, and we'll just do one topic per video. We'll do one on MyTac Q&A, one on this Q&A. I'd like to do one on CDAP, maybe get you and another expert in. I don't know. It's up to you. We'll talk about it where we can.
The three that I'm really good on now is Scale AI, which we should talk about because you can get $1 million to $3 million, and the OCI C2C, which is a really good program too. So there's a couple ones, and CDAP and MyTax for sure. Yeah, there's a few. Let's do it.
Yeah, send me the list of those the ones you want to talk about it, and let's start booking them.
Let's do it. Love it.
And for those of you watching, you can join John and I at startupdrinksto.com. January 25th is our next one. There's one almost every month. So check that out. We're in person. It's open bar, open pitch. You get to talk to investors. You get to talk to mentors. You get to talk to all sorts of interesting people. If you want to work with me, go to startupcoach.ca, book a discovery call, and we can chat about how working with a startup coach could help your business. Check out mentoringmagic.ca. by the time this goes out, it'll be posted. February 14th, we are doing a co-founder matchup in-person event. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you're looking for a co-founder or someone to help you take your startup to the next level, come out and join us then. All this and more can be found on TorontoStarts.com.
Awesome.
And we got Startup Face Off on Monday, which is a debate. I think you're there for that.
I am. I think I'm invited. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not. I can't remember. And the startup pitch battle on the following Monday. So, which is startups pitching. We've got Oot coming out to pitch and a few other startups. So the thing with startup pitch battle is the audience decides the winner. So come on out. You get to vote and choose who wins. Thanks for being part of FutureTech Podcast, and we'll see you again soon.
Take care, guys.